Welcome to It's All Fine and Danjee, where we talk about community, health, culture, and all of the big and little things that make life good. Here are your hosts, Dan and Angie.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 35 of It's All Fine and Danjee. Thank you so much for joining us. I want to say this morning, but that may not be morning for you. So welcome, and thank you for listening for either the first time, second time, or 35th time. Would be wonderful.
No doubt. Or 60th time if you're listening to them over and over.
Oh, well, we hope so. We hope you like the sound of our voices that much.
Indeed.
Anyway, so a little bit of this and that coming up. And what did I do last week? I did some wedding dress shopping.
Yes, you did. And I wasn't allowed to see.
No, and I don't really know what all those rules are about.
I think
it's a little surprise, because I do like surprising people.
Yeah.
So
you and I are making our own rules for this too, which I think is great.
We kind of are.
Yeah.
But I am very proud to say that I was very frugal in my wedding dress shopping.
That's you.
Very frugal.
Yep.
So I had a specific look I was going for. Simple. Something I could wear again.
Yeah.
Right? Why you buy a dress you can't wear again? It doesn't make sense to me. Anyway, $50.
Pretty impressive.
What?
Very nice.
And I dropped it off at the dry cleaner. There was like a little spot on it.
Yep.
And I'm going to take it back if that spot doesn't come out. You better believe. Because $50 is $50. I need that $50 back and go find something else.
Well, that's cool. I mean, as long as you like it and you're happy with it. And for me, the suit, I guess I'm going to be getting, I'm still debating renting or buying. I don't know. I feel like I can go...
Either way, you're not going to get a better deal than I did.
Well, probably not. Oh, probably not. But I guess I feel like I can go a little bit more fashion forward, as you would say, and get something that maybe I'm not sure of, but I think would be really cool for an event. I can rent and do it that way.
Yeah.
That would be really cool for this event specifically. But I don't... I feel like I would be more conservative if I was like, well, I want to wear it for work or I want to wear it for other events.
Yeah,
so
okay, I get you.
So I think if I want to be a little more edgy, I might just rent something, but we'll see.
All right.
I'll be secretive like you.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. Well,
so
that's fair.
You ever seen the scene in Dumb and Dumber with the top hats?
Whatever you want to do, baby. Just remember, it is documented forever in photo and video.
I'm so not doing that. We should do that for Halloween one year, though.
That would be a fun costume.
Yeah, it really would.
We just thought of another fun costume last night. Yes, we have to write that one down.
We do.
That's a really good costume.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm cutting that out. I don't want anybody stealing that idea.
Okay, well, you do have some editing to do then.
Yes. You
can beep it. Put a beep over it.
That's what I should do. That's what I'll do.
For those of you who've ever listened to our Halloween episodes, you'll know that you don't really get to hear any of the costume choices until we're done.
Yeah, that's part of the fun.
I know, that's part of the surprises. So Thanksgiving is next week already.
Yes, this is supposed to be our month of thanks as well. So
that's right.
Yeah.
And lots of the next 2 months are all about giving thanks, I think.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
I do too.
Giving and giving thanks.
You and I are wired that way, but I think, I like that this month is kind of advertised as being the month of giving things, but I think we do that through December, and we're both much more comfortable giving people stuff than getting stuff.
We are givers instead of receivers.
Yeah, so...
I mean, trust me, it does feel good to receive when somebody got you something because they knew you wanted it.
Right.
Yeah, that feels good, but we have a little bit of uncomfortableness with it.
Exactly.
Like, love it, but I'd rather buy something for somebody else when I go to the store to spend money.
Me too. And
or be very frugal if it is for myself.
Yeah, exactly. And like Christmas morning, I think, as we're usually sitting in the circle and we're kind of going around, you go, no, you go. I get like jazzed up when you guys are opening your presents, and when it's my turn, I just want to get it over with.
It's so funny.
Anyway, but speaking of Thanksgiving traditions, yeah.
I was trying to think, do we have any Thanksgiving? Now, last year we did something really cool, and I was hoping we were going to do it again this year.
Me too. And maybe we can try to make that our tradition when we've got my daughter, or we don't have other obligations with family. But I think that was cool. That was one that it's very sort of an untraditional tradition. It's not really a tradition, but we wanted to make it one.
Yeah. So we went to Fun Spot down in Orlando.
Yep.
And just hung out and did the rides and stuff. A couple that, thank God I didn't eat anything before I got on them. And then we went to Fleming's for dinner.
It was great.
And we looked like complete tourists when we walked in there.
Yes, because we were like in sweatshirts and whatnot.
And that place was very busy.
It really was.
But what we didn't think of is there is a lot of tourists down here during that time of year, and they still want Thanksgiving dinner, so they're going to places like Fleming's or nicer places that are offering those courses.
Right, and kind of scanning the room when we were in there, and it was cool. They were very, very cool with us. They squeezed us in even though it was like reserved months out. We got a seat at a booth in the bar, and you and I and Rachel, and there was turkey and all the food. It was really good, but scanning the room, I got the impression that some of those people in there are empty nesters, because there was, some middle-aged couples, and I thought, well, that's kind of a cool idea in general. Yeah, I do look forward to the day when I'm like the grandpa at the event that eats and falls asleep on the couch.
You look forward to that, huh?
I do. It seems like a very low stress, low intense.
You don't have to really do anything. You just show up. Everybody else is cooking.
That is it. So, speaking of Thanksgiving traditions, we'd love to hear what some of your Thanksgiving traditions are, whether they're sort of the tradition, that's weird to say.
Traditional.
Or if you do something that's, maybe off or uncommon. But because you never know. Sometimes people like to pick up traditions from other people. But all in all, it's just interesting to me. So if you want to let us know what some of your traditions are, please give us a call or give us an email at, you can call us at 407-519-0515, or you can email us at feedback@fineanddanjee.com. But it'd be cool to hear some of those.
Yeah, it really would.
And before I forget, because I did forget, when we went to North Carolina last month, a few weeks ago, I finally got the videos done for that. Mm-hmm. So
they're really good.
Thank you. And I put the link. This is actually more to my personal YouTube account, because the music subscription I have can only be used at one YouTube channel. So I will put a link in the description of the show for the North Carolina videos. They turned out really fun. And I think it's a pretty good overall. If you're thinking about going to North Carolina or that area to do something cool, it gives you a really good idea of what you can do out there. But I forgot to mention the Airbnb that we've stayed at twice now. And I told Lynn that I would mention it on the podcast because we left her a card. But the only way I really know how to do this, if you punch in a search an Airbnb for Asheville, North Carolina, her Airbnb is listed as cozy private entrance and bath central location. Okay. And it's a cool little place. They've remodeled their basement. Yeah. It's got a bathroom with a shower, a little hall. There's like an entryway, and she has everything you would ever want in an Airbnb. It's like staying in a hotel. There's like coffee and tea and like a hot water machine, and for drinks, there's a little cooler. There's even beer and sodas and stuff in the cooler.
Yeah, fridge.
Oh, I'm sorry,
actual fridge.
Yeah, sorry,
and a microwave.
And a microwave. Yeah.
Yep. She got little, pamphlets set out for local things to do.
Oh, yeah.
She gives great restaurant ideas.
That's how we found some of our favorites.
Copper Crown,
yeah. So I can't say enough good about it. We've stayed in many Airbnbs, and this is probably one of our very favorite, very, very nice family that, owns the house, and they greet you when you get there, but then leave you alone. And it's just... and
I love the idea, now that we've been there a few times, of renting an Airbnb from a family who's using it as a source of income that.
Yeah, me too.
Who have converted a part of their house to be able to have a source of income.
Indeed.
And bring people to that area, because most people move to that. They're kind of tourists, right? Yeah. Most aren't locals, I don't think. They move to that area because of the culture. Yeah. And a lot of people that move there want other people to experience that too. Yeah. And you can feel that when you're really in the community.
Can. Yeah. I could tell that too when we went on that bus tour, that comedy bus tour.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, so thank you again, Lynn. There's the plug for your Airbnb. Yeah. We love the place, and we really appreciate it. Otherwise, for me, as we go through this and that, for me, it's been a lot of prep this week for the travel that I'm about to do.
Yep.
And, it's we've been doing the same old thing otherwise. We got a lot of stuff coming up through the end of this month. Next month will be really, really busy.
Yeah. And January is even busy now.
Yeah. So
for podcast stuff anyway.
Oh, I know. Yeah. And life. Yeah.
and life, people.
But
that's it. That's it for this and that. So, guys, stay tuned. We have a really great community call out coming up. Our guest coming up is awesome. And we even made a video of it.
We did make a video of it.
That will be, we'll talk about that in a little bit, though.
And that'll be in the link in the show notes as well.
Yeah.
All right.
It's a surprise.
Oh, okay. Well, cool. So hang tight and we'll be right back. Hey guys, welcome back, and now it's time for our community call out, and we are especially excited today because today's guest is absolutely perfect for Thanksgiving. As we're doing our month of thanks, we are focusing on what we're thankful for, but we also want to focus on some of those traditions that we have throughout Thanksgiving and the holidays. So today's guest is a blogger. She is a self-professed compulsive baker and a maker of kitchen messes, lover of bacon and guacamole, which are two of my very favorite things ever. And this is all in addition to holding down a totally separate career. So we are thrilled to introduce Sheila the Kitchen Chandler. So welcome, Sheila.
Thank you.
We are so excited to have you on. So before we dig into the kitchen, cooking, and the food stuff, can you tell us just a little bit about yourself, like where you grew up maybe, or your kids, your family life, day job, what you do for fun?
Sure.
Besides cooking.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm definitely from all over the country. I was born in Boston, Massachusetts. I lived there for the first 10 years of my life. My mom had one of those corporate jobs, so we moved around quite a bit. So I have one of those generic all-American accents. So I've lived in St. Louis, Missouri. I've lived in Modesto, California. And I really call Florida my home because I've lived here most of my life, more than any other place. I think we moved here in 1978. And besides a few stints in those other places, I've lived in Florida a good 30-some years. I don't want to date myself. I'm not.
Are you like me? Do you call yourself a native Floridian? Because that's what I say.
I can't. I have children who are native Floridians, but I can't call myself a native Floridian. But I'm definitely a Florida girl through and through. So I love boating. My husband and I do a lot of boating.
Very nice. That's relatable. We love that.
Yeah. So to me, there is no place else on earth that you can boat like you do in Florida. It's just
so many different places.
Yeah.
Weather is kind of cooperative throughout most of the year. And I agree, by the way, with your accent, because it's one of those that's sort of elusive and maybe a mix of a bunch of things.
You can't tell where I'm from.
You can't, really.
You can fool anybody. You can just tell them wherever you want.
Yeah. But boating is definitely one of our passions together. My husband and I, of course, I love cooking. Cooking is definitely one of my passions. I am an animal lover. I own 2 donkeys. My friend is currently making me a shirt that says Mother of Donkeys with a little Game of Thrones spin.
Oh, how perfect is that?
So
yes,
cute.
Because I am a Game of Thrones lover and a donkey lover.
Us as well.
Yes.
And not the donkeys so much, but I'm sure you could probably change our mind.
Yes.
Today.
Well, I mean, we saw them walking up. They're very cute. So.
They are cute. I love them. My Lucy and Spotty Taco. He came with the name
That
Spot.
is interesting.
But I renamed him Spotty Taco.
Oh, that's so great. That's so appropriate.
Yes, very easy to
that's
call
like
him.
That's like Steve the chicken.
Yes,
Just
yes.
random name.
Steve the Rooster.
Oh, the
Steve
Rooster, that's
yes,
right.
Yes, who I got rid of. But I have lots of animals around here on my air quotes farm, and I'm such a generic thing to say. I'm a people person. I can talk to just about anybody about just about anything.
Well, that's
great. We need more people like that in the world.
We
right?
do. Isn't that not relatable, Angie?
Yes, anybody, grocery store.
Right.
I have to talk to somebody.
If you're holding still, I'll talk to you.
That's right. If you back away, I might walk towards you.
So I guess translation, you're going to have to kick us out of here when we're
Probably.
done with this, because we'll talk all day.
Yeah.
Well, so that's great to know. And I have to mention this, but you were not only nominated in GE's nationwide Great American Grandma Contest, but you were actually a finalist in that.
Yes, I think I got down to the top 5 is what
Wow.
what I've been
awesome.
told. I don't have any confirmation of
Sure.
that, but
Well, so just for those of you that don't know, that was a nationwide contest that GE did looking for like the Great American Grandma to do some of their marketing. And there was like a contest that they did.
Yeah.
Sheila got down to the finalists. That must have been very thrilling. I'd like to know what the experience,
exciting.
like how did that come to be? How'd you find out?
So my neighbor that lives diagonally to me, Jenny and Brad, they have 3 kids, and I have known Jenny for 20 plus years.
Wow.
We actually used to work together long before we were neighbors. Coincidentally, we became neighbors. When I told her I bought this house, she said, "Oh, I think that's near a piece of property that I own that we're going to build a house on someday." And it turned out that it was just right next door.
Wow.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
yeah, and she built her house just a few years ago. And I do tend to feed people. It's my love language.
Yep.
So if I care for you, you're going to get food. And so I do spend a lot of time, Jenny has just wonderful kids, and her daughter Kensley loves coming over and feeding the donkeys. I used to have a little pony that she would feed, and I send them over food.
Yeah.
And so Jenny was the one who nominated me for the contest.
Oh, so you didn't even know?
I didn't even know about it.
Oh,
no.
wow.
And she tagged me in something on Facebook and said, "Hey, I nominated you for this contest." I guess she filled out some form, and she's like, "You have to make a video." And I'm like, "I have to do what? I have to make what?" And I think it was right down to the wire. I happened to have my granddaughter over that day, and she was taking a nap. I didn't even put her in the video, which I, to this day, kind of regret. But she was taking a nap, and I thought, I better get on there and make this video. So
a good opportunity to do it.
Yeah, I just made the video. I think I talked about a chocolate chip cookie recipe, which is one that is very requested from people who care about me or like my cookies. I'm not sure which one.
You have my undivided attention.
It's a delicious brown butter salted chocolate chip pecan
Oh, my
cookie
goodness.
recipe. It's on the blog.
I'm taking a note.
It's from probably from, or you can find it under desserts on the blog, but that is a great cookie recipe. And so I talked about that recipe. I talked about some wedding cakes that I had made. I talked about having some fun in the kitchen. And I really didn't even do that great of a job on the video. But I sent it into GE, and I got a call. I was at work. And what's funny is I don't normally answer like unknown numbers on my cell phone. I was at work, and I was kind of sitting there, and it was a number from Kentucky. And
You're like, this is weird.
it was weird. And
Well, how much later was this, just to set the stage? Do you know?
I want to say 3 weeks later.
Okay. So
3
some
or
time
4.
had gone
Yeah,
by, right?
3 or 4 weeks
you
later.
probably kind of forgot about it
I
by
had
that
forgotten
point.
about it, and I really can't even tell you why I answered the call. Maybe because Kentucky is the birthplace of bourbon, and I'm a big bourbon lover. I don't know.
You're like, somebody is calling me with
to
free
give me
bourbon.
free
I don't know what's going on.
I got to get this. So I answered it, and it was a gentleman from GE telling me that I had made, I think at the time, the top 25, and he needed another video from me.
Wow. Very
And he
cool.
said, "Hey, do you think you could put your granddaughter in the video?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I could do that."
Oh, nice.
I'll wake her up from her nap this time.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So with the help of my son, I had my granddaughter over, and we made another video, and I sent that one in, and I got down to like I said, the top 5, and it was really exciting. And I think what was neat about it is I had so many people that I love, and friends and family saying such nice things on the video that I posted and on GE's website, saying, pick her, she cares about people. She's always making something. And it was just, even though I didn't win the contest, that was really a rewarding piece, because it made me feel as if I really have reached out to people, and people do know that I care about them.
They take note of it.
Right. Something that maybe people don't have the opportunity or think about telling you.
Right.
Otherwise.
Or how often do you get to hear that about yourself?
Right.
Yeah.
And so that, I think, was my favorite part.
Right.
I got my 15 minutes of fame, and it was really neat. I got interviewed by the local newspaper, the Daily Commercial, and it it was fun. I got to spend some fun time with my granddaughter because she really does love cooking with me. And
you could tell. So
yeah.
You could tell. We've seen the videos and your
so
Facebook
cute.
page and stuff.
Yeah.
And you can totally tell she loves that.
We have a good time together in the kitchen, and she will say, what do we, it's either crafts or cooking. That's the things that we do together. And it was just really neat. So they chose a woman named Allie, and she's 70 years old. She looks about 20 years younger.
We watched it, remember?
Yeah.
Oh, so she's 70 years old?
She is 70 years old.
She does not look 70 years old.
This woman hikes and bikes and travels all
That's
over
the trick
the
to staying
world.
young, isn't
Yes.
it? Wow.
And she's a powerhouse. So I think they did a phenomenal job choosing her. The only thing that makes me sad is I didn't get my double wall oven, which I really wanted.
Double wall oven. So they were going to give you new
what's
appliances.
the backup prize?
I know. Can I still have my
place.
double wall oven?
Oh, that's awesome.
But it was really fun.
Yeah.
And I think the thing that really it pushed me into the genesis of the Kitchen Chandler, which was like, hey,
That's what I was going to ask. Were you doing it at that time, or was this kind of developed because of the experience you had?
I really think they kind of came hand in hand, because I've always been somebody who cooks in the kitchen, who posts pictures of what I cooked, who likes to help, post little
teach people.
Yeah, and
recipes.
can I say too, we watched your videos. You're good in front of the camera doing this. And for the listeners, we just recorded with Sheila a video that we'll post of us actually making a meal, and it was really, really good, by the way. I guess we'd call it a meal. And
we ate it. It was a meal.
It was a meal.
We ate it.
But you have like a sort of an easy, non-nervous, kind of mellow vibe in front of the camera that we picked up on when we watched those clips. So I think that plays well to what you're doing with the blog and stuff too.
Yeah, I enjoy it. And I always, I joke because my day job is I'm a trainer, and so I train people I'm a healthcare trainer, a health insurance trainer, I should say.
Right.
And so, that pays my bills, but in the kitchen, I'm a trainer there too.
And you're it's your zen, right?
Yeah.
That's what a lot of people understand. A lot of people get stressed in the kitchen. And I have those days where things aren't going right.
Right,
And
me
you're
too.
burning something and you're like,
Right.
But usually it's very just zen for me.
That's
when
your
I'm in
thing.
the kitchen.
That's me writing.
I
But
love
I can relate.
So who taught you to cook?
So many people taught me to cook. I mean, I've always been interested in cooking. And like I said, my mom had a corporate job, and she was, one of these women in the 70s and 80s who really had to prove herself. And so she worked a lot of hours.
Yeah.
And so we ate a lot of frozen food as kids. And so my mom is a phenomenal cook. My stepmom is a phenomenal cook. My grandmother, excellent cook. My mother-in-law, excellent cook. And so I learned a lot from these women. I learned a lot from the Food Network. I learned a lot from cookbooks, Julia Child's cookbook. I just have always been a sponge when it comes to cooking. And so, I mean, it was a crowdsource,
Yeah.
And so there are many women in my life that taught me to cook. My mom has always had really neat dinner parties, entertaining dinner parties. And I learned from her. I learned from my grandmother. And
Very cool.
yeah.
That is cool.
So you've kind of maybe touched on this, but do you have any specific memories in the kitchen? And if so, share one of your favorites or a couple of your favorites.
I have a couple favorites. My first favorite really has to be my dad. It's very simple. My dad is a crepe maker. My dad always had crepes on Sunday morning.
Those are a hard thing to make, too.
My dad is a phenomenal crepe maker.
It wasn't just the women in your life, so you had people all around.
No,
Wow.
and I'll be going up to see my dad in a week or two, and I hope that
Is that
I'll
one of
get
your
crepes
requests?
on Sunday morning. Yeah,
Oh,
because
nice.
he is just a master at making crepes. So it's a very simple breakfast. He'll cut up bananas and fruit. My stepmom will, make those things too, and we'll have some cream cheese or cottage cheese and fill up some crepes. That's just one of the greatest memories. My grandmother, anything my grandmother make, her linguine in clam sauce is a very simple recipe. But one of my, I think, most recent favorite memories in the kitchen was last Thanksgiving with my son. We concocted
I like that word.
Yeah. A sweet potato casserole. And my son and I are both whiskey drinkers. We both love a good whiskey. And we
You
just
are from the South.
Oh yeah.
Even though you think you're not, you are.
And, I just said to him, what do you think, because you put vanilla in sweet potato casserole. And I said, why don't we try whiskey, Mark? And he just kind of looked at me and his eyes got big and we're like, let's do it. And we kept adding whiskey to that casserole.
Oh, it sounds like me and that rum cake.
Did you have to have a little sign of this and not suitable for children?
But you know what? It turned out phenomenal.
Did it?
And that recipe is going on the blog this Thanksgiving. And I think it probably has about a half a cup of whiskey, but it made a delicious sweet potato casserole.
Regretting it now, aren't you?
So what's funny is that was one of the options that Sheila gave us this morning for cooking. And I shied away a little bit because I don't generally like sweet potatoes or yams, but now I really want to try that.
I'll give you the recipe.
Sounds amazing.
You know what? I think once you're putting it up on the blog, you said?
Yes. That's
I'll
going
make
up this
that
week.
for the Thanksgiving dinner that we're doing.
And when is that going up on the blog?
That's going up this week.
Okay.
Very cool.
So we will put a link in the show notes to that recipe.
Yeah.
How often are you able to post a new recipe or something that, is an older recipe that maybe you haven't posted on the blog yet?
This summer it was difficult for me because summer is my busy season at work. So I wasn't able to as much as I like to. My goal is to try to get one a week up there.
Okay.
If I can get more than that, it's fantastic. But I try to do one a week.
I think that's a great number because
I do too.
I was talking about my website, how much I want to post on social media and stuff. And I feel like it's too much. Like I don't want to do too much where I'm like killing people with too much information, but I got to do something.
Right. Well, I think in busy life too, I like the idea that, some of the stuff on your blog is, some of the stuff that you've listed there is the sort of easy recipe, family dinner night kind of stuff that you can do quick. And I think in that same sort of vein, people can absorb more than one recipe a week a lot of the time anyway.
Right.
So,
and you put some helpful hints on there or little tidbits of information too, like the how much turkey to buy. You just did that post. If you're feeding this many people, because
like a cheat sheet. Yeah.
Right.
It seems like everybody goes and buys the biggest turkey and there's so much turkey left over. You don't need that much.
Or
really
worse,
try.
not enough.
Yeah. Or not enough. Yeah.
I really do try because, I've been cooking a long time. I got married. I always joke I rode my big wheel to my wedding. I got married when I was 20. So I've been cooking a really long time and it's something that I've always enjoyed. But, there's a lot of people out there who are afraid to cook because they just don't know what to do. And that's the person I'm really trying to reach.
That's your audience.
I really want to help either somebody who's new to cooking, whether they're young or old. I don't care. But I just want to help you not be afraid in the kitchen and just have a good time and don't be afraid of making messes. And you can try it. And if it doesn't turn out, dump it I've dumped a lot of stuff in the garbage.
Trial and error.
Yeah. And that's making mistakes is how you learn.
That's
Sure.
right.
So that was a good question, Angie, about the memory thing, because it's funny how meals kind of connect to our memories for some reason. You'll eat a recipe or a similar recipe and then remember your, a time when you were younger when you ate it.
It could be the smell of it though.
That
it could
too.
Be, so many different, all of our senses are connected.
Yeah.
And with food, smell,
something
memory,
about it.
what it just triggers.
Yeah. So do you, Sheila, do you most often cook things that you've made before, or are you sort of constantly experimenting for the blog?
Well, I would have to say that that's a split because my husband, has my husband and my kids, they have their favorites. And I really do. I've said this before. For me, cooking is my love language. It is an act of love. And so if there's something that you love that I make, I want to feed you. I want to feed you what you love. So, like my husband has this soup recipe. As a matter of fact, it's on the blog and it kind of explains the genesis of the name, The Kitchen Chandler. And it's, the captain's crab and corn chowder. And I make that a lot for him seasonally, especially when we've got Zellwood corn in season. Mm-hmm. And I'll make that for him. I definitely want to make my kids' favorites. I'll ask them at Thanksgiving, or if we're just having a family dinner, what is it that you want me to put on the table? Because I want them to have that. But then at the same time, I'm concocting new things for dinners. Cause just like you said, people want quick dinners. And, I recently saw a cute little meme that says, who knew that being an adult was trying to figure out what to make for dinner for the rest of your life?
Oh, that's such a good one.
Because
so true.
it really is.
Yeah.
And I think just
especially if you like like variety in
Yeah,
life. I like variety, so it's got to be a little different every night.
And it's sometimes it's just asking you, like, hey, what is it that you made for dinner last night? Because that might be old hat to you, but something really new to me. And so just share with me, what's your dinner? What's your, do you make a nice stew? Do you, is it a chicken in an adobo sauce? What is it that you make that maybe I could make? And if I just share that on the blog, you know, and so I do try to make a split of old and new.
That's good to know. I mean, I see the value in those traditional meals that people like and they've had throughout their life. And then, as you said, Angie, that variety, because we do get bored of the same thing.
Right.
So that's interesting. So you mentioned that chocolate chip cookie recipe, which I am going to look up immediately. But what's some of the most popular content on your blog?
Dinners, definitely the dinners.
Is it?
Yeah, the quick dinners. There was a Hawaiian taco that I made that went over, chicken thigh taco that went over really well. But people want to know what to make for dinner.
That's the stress. That's the stress that everyone's under, trying to come up with something quick that's not frozen, that's not the same old thing again.
Because most people are grabbing something real quick at home for breakfast, doing a smoothie or something, lunch out usually.
Yep.
And then, but they do want to sit down. I think more people are wanting to sit down when they get home and enjoy a meal with their family.
Yeah, I've recently gotten requests for skillet, one pot, or one dish skillet meals.
Because it's all done, all in one, no sides.
Pressure cookers are huge, crock pots,
I'm working on a chicken and spinach in a cream sauce skillet, one pot type deal. So
Love it.
I'm working on that one right now too. So that's what people want.
So are you like
sense.
me where I will browse Pinterest and stuff and I'll look for like recipe ideas, but I don't always look what they put in it. I just look at the picture and go, oh, I can do something like that. And then I'll kind of make it my
your spin
own.
on it. Yeah.
But it just gives it just clicks some creativity in your brain and go, oh, like a one pot zucchini lasagna. And you put some roast some tomatoes, put those in there, just kind of get a little creative with it.
Yeah. And I think we kind of underestimate how much of a creative art cooking is.
It really is. It's about layering those flavors.
Right.
You can get it wrong. Perfect example. I had made like a soup. In my bad, I had thrown raw garlic in after, and then blended it up. And, raw garlic is very potent.
Yeah, and spicy. Almost. Yeah.
You're supposed to saute it a little bit.
Mellow it down.
That. Yeah. So whoopsie on my part. But even somebody that cooks a lot can make mistakes like that and be like, oh, crap.
Right.
Botch that one.
I constantly make mistakes. And so I really think that that's part of the development, knowing what to do next time. And I really think that's how, like oil painters, they're going to paint a section of a painting and it doesn't look good to them. And they're going to take their oil paint and paint right over it. And that's a recipe.
Right.
And that's how you're going to make something better next time. So.
And I like to share with people too, when they're first starting to cook, just keep very simple ingredients. Yeah. It can taste great with just 5 ingredients.
Yes.
Yeah. Keep it simple. People think it's got to be complex in order for you to, be making this wonderful meal, but it doesn't.
Yeah, especially if you're like me and you're kind of learning still. And so I think starting with the skillet idea is great because it's all one thing. Less ingredients is good for me because it makes it less complex. But back to what you said about creativity, and people don't realize that's creative. I can attest to that, Sheila, because even at our house, and I don't want to sound like I'm a complete idiot when it comes to cooking, because I do okay, but I mean, I can grill a really good steak, because I can. But I will say to Angie, she'll be coming home from work, or I'll be coming home from work, and I'll say, I got to stop at the grocery store because there's nothing at home to eat. And she's like, well, let me get home and look. And I'm kind of exaggerating, but kind of not. She'll look in the pantry and take what I would consider side spices, and somehow magically there's a full-blown meal when I get home, and I'm like, how did you even do this? And it's a good one. So there's definitely an art to it. One I
should have wrote down probably.
Right. Yeah, that's the trick.
I'm bad about that. So I love your website, but the thing that stands out most to me for some reason is your logo. I absolutely love it.
She has talked about your logo 10 times.
It's beautiful. Did you draw that? Did somebody else draw that? It's gorgeous.
I worked with the graphic artist on Etsy, and I love Etsy because it's just
It promotes creativity.
Well, creativity and small business, and
Yes.
I'm definitely about small business, whether it's some of these local farms that are around me, or it's a young person in their home trying to start a little graphic arts business, or just I just like that small business mentality, shop local or shop small. So I found this graphic artist on Etsy, and I kind of worked with her, and I said, these are the things that are important to me. I wanted these elements in it, a bee, because of course I'm a beekeeper and I like bees, and I wanted that bee in there. A sunflower, sunflowers kind of represent my daughter.
Hey,
whisk.
look, that was right when you said that.
Is that your daughter?
Yeah, she's
Oh,
going.
that's weird.
I'm talking right the minute you said that. There's some cosmic stuff going on right there.
My daughter and I are definitely connected.
Yeah, no doubt.
But the whisk and the wooden spoon, I wanted those in there. So just those things I wanted, I wanted a little bit. I could have thrown a lot more in there, but I wanted just some simple elements in there. And she and I worked with it, and she, it was really busy. And then I said, okay, take some of this out. We just worked until it just fit. And
it has I think it's a very appropriate, having been here now and having sort of cooked with you this morning, it's a very appropriate vibe for this sort of country kitchen kind of thing that you have going on. So
yeah, it's a beautiful logo. It's just, it looks like it's a piece of art.
Yeah.
So check that out on the kitchen. Chandler.
Not the handler.
Not the chicken handler.
I want to say the kitchen handler.
But
man.
Angie's been
I
calling
just
you
can't.
the kitchen handler because
I
I've known you for a long time, and
it's right there in front of my face, and I've just been calling it whatever.
Well, it's kind of a spin-off from the last name Chandler. Chandler is I guess Old English for a ship chandler, and the ship chandler was somebody who provided everything you needed for your boats.
Oh,
and so
that goes right
really
along with your
cool.
lifestyle.
Right.
too.
So I
You love
stole
boating.
it. Yeah, I stole
that
it.
is great. That's a great little backstory beyond just your name.
Right. I stole it from my husband because he's the ship chandler, because he's my boat captain. I call him
Yeah.
Captain OCD because he's got a touch of that. But so I stole it from him, and I'm the kitchen chandler. I'll supply you with whatever you need in the kitchen.
Oh, that's awesome.
So we cooked this morning, and on your website, you mentioned that you do love gardening.
Yes.
And we cooked with some things that you have from your garden.
Yes.
Micro garden.
Yes,
Micro farm,
definitely
whatever we have
micro.
here.
Right.
So tell us again, what were some of the things that we used from the garden?
This morning we used basil from my garden. I bought this little pond, a little plastic pond, not a kiddie pond, but I think it's like a fountain that I had bought at a garage sale, and I filled it with dirt. And initially I had succulents in it, but then I turned it into a herb garden.
Yeah.
So right now I have cilantro, I have cinnamon basil, I have sweet basil, and I think I have some flat leaf parsley in there. So
The things you use the most,
Yeah.
probably. That's what I do.
yeah, some cool weather, because cilantro really is a cool weather herb, and people try to grow it in the summer.
It
and
doesn't work.
Yeah,
It
just
burns.
bolts. Yeah,
Yeah.
it just bolts out. So I used the sweet basil from there, and then we used eggs from the hens this morning.
How many hens do you have?
I have 8.
Okay.
8 laying hens. No roosters, Steve,
No
like they
Steve.
said. Steve is gone.
Steve is gone.
Now, are they pretty much laying year round? Because I thought hens have like a downtime.
Right. They have a molt season, and they did just go through it. So my backyard was filled with feathers for a little
was it?
while. Yeah, because they all
kinda
molted.
cool.
Oh, they don't.
Yeah.
They don't lay eggs during the molting.
No, because it takes, what they're doing is they basically blow out all their feathers, and then they use all their energy to produce new feathers. And
wow.
yeah. So
Nothing
what
to
I'll
keep
do,
the eggs warm with without
Right.
the feathers.
Oh, good point.
So,
Yeah.
so I'll feed them a higher protein grain during that, molt, so that they can just produce those feathers quicker.
Okay.
Now,
That's
do you let them
interesting.
wander at all to get the nice little bugs and stuff from your yard?
So
or-
I used to do that, but because I'd like to have a little bit of a garden, those
They
two
don't go together.
Yeah, a little mutually exclusive. So they're in their little coop out there that my husband built for me, and we'll go see them.
Oh, yeah, I
but
see it. Yeah.
I'll throw them a bag of spinach, like you asked me this morning.
Yep.
All the scraps that we cut up, anything that's scrap, that goes out to the chickens.
Yeah, it's good for them.
Yeah.
So you mentioned you keep bees. Tell us a bit about that. Do you sell your honey?
I do.
Do you give it away? What do you do with it?
I do and I don't. So I really am what we call a hobby beekeeper. And I used to have my bees in my backyard, but a bear came 2 years in a row and just destroyed my hives.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And so we have bears out here in Eustis.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I don't have a bear fence. So I moved my bees off the property, and now I'm in a co-op with about 10 other people, and we work together, and we each take turns taking care of the hives. And so I get a small share of honey just from the 3 hives that I have. And so I sell a little bit of it at work to people I know. It doesn't make me any money whatsoever.
You're just doing it because it makes you happy.
You're just being the honey chandler.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. We know I love bees, so I don't know if you saw our video of we were at Sideways Farm and Brewery up in North Carolina.
That's so cool.
And the bee guy came to check the hives while we were there, and I was there, buddy. I was like, I want to get in there.
Right.
And he's like, put your hand right here and feel the heat. Like you can feel the heat from like the energy they produce. They're
the bees
so
are
amazing.
the coolest. They're just, if you want to study, even in like just in the corporate world, the symbiotic nature of that hive working together as one system, and each has a job. And
there is an alien intelligence in the bee community that is it is freaky. With the more you know about it, how smart they are and how well they work together.
Well, they're mostly women, so.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Snap.
That explains it.
Yes. Yeah. So I do that on the side. I mostly do it because my husband is a huge honey fan. The man will put honey on almost any food I make.
That's so Angie.
Including spaghetti.
That's like Elf with the syrup.
I use it in a lot of dressings. Yeah. Anything that has an acidic, I always want to balance it with a little of the honey.
Exactly.
So if it's very acidic, I'm like, oh, that's a little honey right there. Oh, maybe a little more.
Yeah.
Right.
But, and that's in the crab and corn chowder recipe that I have too. So we, I definitely use it, daily in my tea. I drink tea every day. I put it in my tea. So I just use it for the benefits. I do the beekeeping mostly because I like the access to the raw, natural honey.
Yeah. Unfiltered.
Yeah. And I sell a little to the people that I work with, but definitely because people will say, I have a friend who would like to sell it in the store. I don't do that because I don't need that. I want enough for the people, close to me to have some.
Yeah. And so for a time, were you selling it when you had it here?
Yeah. Yeah. And I was, and I would run out fairly quickly. So I just kind of keep it quiet now.
I got you.
Yeah.
I remember the name. It was like Scumco or something like that.
Scumpo J. Rutabaga. That was a nickname my dad gave me when I was a little girl.
That's a name.
Yeah, it is.
A name.
And so it was Scumpo J. Honey Company. And people will ask me, why did he nickname you that? And I really don't know. I guess because I was the little spunky little thing. I don't know.
That's what,
Scumpo
that was like
J.
that generation because they like my nickname was like Homer and my cousin was McDougal. I don't know. They just like to call you weird names back then.
Scumpo J. But my family still will call me that. Scumpo J.
Oh, that's funny. That's a nice little sort of tribute as well, I guess. So before we wrap up, Sheila, we like to promote charitable organizations, and we always want to give our guests the opportunity to kind of do the same thing. So are there any specific charities or organizations that you work with or that you'd like to mention here?
I'd love to mention Gary Sinise's Snowball Foundation. My whole family, I come from a long line of military folks. My husband was in the Marine Corps. My dad was in the Navy. My grandfather was in the Army. My great-grandparents, both my grandfathers were in the military. So what Gary Sinise's foundation does is it helps family members of fallen soldiers adjust to life after. And so my mom is very much involved in that foundation, and she does a lot of work to provide these children and their families with blankets. And my mom's a heavy quilter. Oh my gosh, she does beautiful work. And so they have a event coming up called Snowball Express.
Is this in December?
In December.
Oh,
yes,
wonderful.
it's coming up in December. And they are just it's happening at Disney this year, and they're just going to provide these people with just some fun where they can just forget about the things that have, traumatized them. And Gary Sinise himself just does incredible work for the military families.
Yes.
Wow, I did not know this about him. That is awesome.
Oh, he's an incredible guy.
Yeah. So I will put links in the show notes, of course, but how can people find you?
So you can go to www.thekitchenchandler.com. I also have a Facebook page on Facebook, The Kitchen Chandler.
Okay, we'll put links in the show notes, of course. Like
and on Instagram.
All right.
Sheila, thank you so much. This was so cool. We've been wanting to do this for a long time, and this was really nice. And we look forward to following your blog and seeing which recipes are coming next. And I'm going straight out to get that cookie recipe. Oh, you do? Nice. Very nice.
All right. That's a wrap.
That's a wrap. So, guys, hang tight, and we will be right back after this break for the information station.
Hi, this is Bill Files, the upcoming audiobook narrator of Daniel Fox's awesome thriller, In the Dark. And you're listening to It's All Fine and Danjee.
Hi, guys. Welcome back. It is time for our information station. What an awesome interview with Sheila.
That was really fun.
Thank her again. That was so fun. And afterwards, after we did the cooking, we did a little cooking show.
Oh, yeah.
Or a little cooking video, which everybody will see. Yep. And after we did the interview, we walked around what she refers to as her micro farm.
Yeah.
Because we were calling it a farm. It is a farm to us. But she says it's her little micro farm. But she has chickens out there that are great egg layers.
Oh, yeah. We got a bunch of eggs.
We got 24 dozen eggs.
24 dozen?
Yeah. Oh, and I got to get the honey out of your car because I think it fell out, but she gave us some honey from her beehive.
Very nice. 24 dozen eggs. So we have like 2,400 eggs?
No. 24 eggs. Stop it.
All right. That wouldn't have been 2,400
no,
anyway.
actually 2 24 packs is what I meant. So 48 eggs. But I'm going to boil some eggs and make my basil lemon pesto to put on top.
Nice.
So I'm going to do some cooking this week.
Very nice. I don't think it was 2,400 anyway. My math was wrong. But still, I was just picturing a lot of egg meals for the next 2 months.
Well, we can get creative, right?
Yes.
And then she has 2 donkeys that are the sweetest things. Oh my gosh. One's named Lucy and the other one really liked you. They call it Spotty Taco, which is a hilarious name.
It is. It's a hilarious name. But that was funny because Lucy is like super friendly with everybody, and Spotty Taco, I don't know if it was a rescue or what, but he is a little more apprehensive about getting close to people, and I am apprehensive. I love animals, but I'm always apprehensive.
If they move weird, you're like,
if they're scared, then I don't want to get hurt by a weird. I'm a wimp with that stuff. But it was weird because Spotty Taco came over where I was standing and stuck his head through the gate for me to pet him, and he let me pet him. It was really cool. And Sheila's like, he must have picked up a vibe from you. So
it was fun.
So anyway, it was really fun.
A nice little piece of property out there. She grows some fresh veggies and herbs for herself because she does a lot of cooking. She has a cooking blog, and that's her passion, which is kind of like me. Right. I like to cook.
I know. And you can tell you guys really synced up on that, which was great. And I like to eat, so it was perfect.
So it works out well for you.
Indeed.
So I just wanted to talk a little bit, since we were in the kitchen, and Sheila does a lot of cooking at home. I wanted to talk about cooking at home. And, we're all on the go. And everybody that listens knows I'm a health and wellness coach. So I, do cook at home a lot, but we're on the go a lot. And sometimes we have to grab stuff. And I never feel great after I grab stuff, by the way. So
yeah, you're definitely more sensitive to it.
Yeah, I'm more sensitive to it. So I like to eat at home whenever possible. But cooking at home offers a lot of benefits to you.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not going to get into all the sciencey stuff behind it, but one thing is just eating out. The quality is, even if you think the quality is really great where you're eating out,
right?
They're trying to use the least expensive way to serve you food.
Lots of vegetable oil in there.
Lots of oils, unhealthy oils, and not that those oils, you don't need some of them oils, but too much of them is not good. Let's just put it that way.
Sure.
So cooking at home, number one, you're going to eat less calories. Even if you think you overeat, you really are going to eat less calories because you can control the content of what's going into your food.
Very specific ingredients. Yeah, and
you
I think
can add things like olive oil instead of vegetable oil, which is more of a health benefit. So
sometimes when people think they're eating few calories out because of the dish, they're actually not. That's the other trick.
Yeah, it's a trick. It might look like a small portion, but what did they put in it, right?
Yeah.
Those things should be saved for, special occasions, I feel.
Right.
Or every once in a while. But also, when you eat out, you're also not getting those core food groups. A lot of times you're not getting the fruits and the veggies that you need or the whole grains, right? So these are also things that at home, most people are going to make more of a balanced meal, I believe, when you're cooking at home. It's more well-rounded, right?
Sure.
And you can choose to put more of those veggies on your plate and cook them in a healthy way.
Right.
In the steamer or roast them as opposed to, let's put some batter on it and fry it because that'll be hot when it comes to the table.
That's a great point because I don't really know that many people that have a fryer at home either. So,
not many people,
yeah.
no. And there's this great alternative, and me and Sheila talked a little bit about it. And I do not have one, but I've used one at some of my clients' home, the air fryer.
Sure.
So it gives you this feeling of having something that's fried, but you got to use really great ingredients for it, So
and it's not technical. Well, I guess
it's not. It's air fried, so it uses almost like a convection type technique.
So it makes
make
it crispy? Oh, that's nice. That sounds nice.
So we do need one of those.
Very nice.
You like the fried stuff sometimes. So
I do like
the crunch.
Yeah.
Well, there's something about those textures. You know what I mean? We
sure.
all want them. I mean, everybody likes a good French fry, you know? But how can we turn that into something that's actually beneficial for us?
Cook it at home.
Yeah, cook it at home. Use an air fryer. And what else is cool is when you're cooking in the kitchen, you become more familiar. I don't know what that means. Familiar with even your local foods, like what's available at the grocery store. Maybe you'll try something new, right? And of course, we suggest that you shop at local little,
farmers markets and things.
Farmers markets, little mom and pop stores that, carry local, fresh, maybe organic produce, local meat, stuff like that.
Right.
So that's a great way to kind of introduce those things into the kitchen.
And it probably makes you smarter when you're grocery shopping at the big chains too, then, because you know what not to get.
Well, and like we talked about with Sheila, a lot of people don't know how to cook, right? Or they're scared, they don't know what to do. And you don't want to spend all this money on these fancy ingredients.
And then wreck it. Right.
But what I say is keep it simple in the kitchen. Things can taste great by just keeping it simple.
Yeah.
Right. And this is really interesting too. We looked this up, and cooking can actually increase your social life.
Yeah.
If you want to have an increased social life, I guess.
It makes sense though.
Yeah, because there's something about, let's face it, in every culture, events revolve around eating, don't they? Really?
Yeah. That's what makes dieting so hard.
Yeah.
Because that is a social event.
Yeah. And but when you cook a good meal, you want others to enjoy it.
Right.
Not just yourself.
Sure.
So it can, kind of expand your social circle by maybe you'll host a little dinner party. Maybe you'll host Thanksgiving one year and show everybody the new techniques that you have learned. And I knew meal prep is a big thing this day and age because we are on the go, but learning to cook in the kitchen can help you to eat healthier during the week if you do a little meal prep at home.
Indeed.
And, prep some of those lunches, even if it's like 3 a week, at least you're having 3 homemade meals you take to work and then you eat out a couple other times.
Fill the gaps.
That's perfectly fine. But just don't eat out every meal, people, please.
Yeah. That's
Please,
cool.
I beg of you.
So
cook at home more.
Yeah, and so that's a nice tie-in with Sheila because that's what she's all about.
Yeah, and there's studies that have found that kids, especially if they pick the food and then they touch it when they cook it, they're more apt to eat it. So this is a great way to get veggies and healthy foods into kids' bellies
for your kids. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Let them help in the kitchen.
Makes total sense. But anyway, and then before we roll into sort of the wrap up of the show, I did want to mention that the Fox boy moved out yesterday.
He did.
And all on great terms. It's great. He's 18, but he wanted to try a different city, which is really cool because I just didn't have the guts to do something like that when I was his age. I never even thought of it as an option, really.
He has a great opportunity to be able, like, he's with family, which is really, so I feel like that eases you a little bit because you know it's a safe environment.
But he pursued this, you know.
I know.
He knew he had family in Seattle. He
reached out,
and he is moving into like a spare guest space, and you know they got all that worked out. But he's paying rent. He's going to get a job out there. He doesn't know. I think he knows one person in Seattle that he
has a friend that he's known for years. Yeah.
And, he's got a bunch of friends here, so he's leaving all that behind to go try something new, to go figure out what he wants to do with his life. He's got a 10-day road trip adventure with a bunch of stops along the way.
And two friends that, his good friend, his best friend is traveling with him. Yep. And then they're making some stops for people they've met online.
Yeah, so he's got two friends, I think, traveling with him.
Oh, okay. One, I think that left. Oh, yeah, he left.
There was going to be three.
That's right.
So he's got two friends traveling with him, and they are stopping along the way to meet another friend they know and doing their stops. And, he's got 3 or 4 different places he's stopping at along the way. It just sounds really fun, really cool.
It does. It sounds really fun.
And I won't get all into just how sad I am that he's moving out because I just don't want to get into it, but I am, and so I wish him the best. I hope he has a great time. I don't know what he's going to do after the end of the year, and he doesn't either. He just wants to go try it. But so that's been a big thing on my mind over the past, week, leading up to it. He came here and stayed with us and, hung out with his sister and stuff. And it was hard for me to see them too, say goodbye.
Yeah.
But we'll make some trips up there. And on the positive side, I mean, it's all positive, but on the positive side for us, besides the sort of knowing that he's out there doing his thing, we have started kind of cleaning up his room and packaging up some stuff that he wants us to store, getting rid of the stuff that he doesn't really care, like his old bed, and it's a little worn. And we're going to convert that into our podcast studio.
Yes, we are.
So that'll be nice. Yeah, and we'll have more room.
We'll have a space for guests instead of our little area in our bedroom or the kitchen table where we put people.
So that'll be nice. We're gonna deck it out with, I'm gonna put some cool lighting in there, maybe paint a couple things, and it'll be when we do our Facebook Lives, it'll look really neat.
Yeah, it'll look professional.
Yeah, and then we've got between the two of us, we've got some cool ideas about how to make like an expanding desk table kind of thing. So when guests come, it's much more studio-like, and it'll be appropriate for videos if we want to do that when guests are here too.
Yeah.
So anyway.
I did want to, excuse me, everyone. I did want to mention the organization again that Sheila told us about that she helps support.
The Gary Sinise thing?
Yeah, GarySiniseFoundation.org.
Right.
And we were just asking how we can help with that. And she said, really just mention it, just get the word out there.
Yep.
So Gary Sinise Foundation is a program that has all sorts of programs in place for veterans, military, really first responders.
Families that have been affected by the loss of
their loved ones.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And there's too many programs that they offer to even list. I mean, you can go on the website and find out. I mean, they even do things like make smart homes for people that have, maybe, been injured. Special vehicles that they make. I mean, the list goes on and on.
Sure.
But she said that there was a event coming up in December that they're hosting at Disney, and that's the Gary Sinise Snowball Express event that they do.
Yep.
So pretty cool that they're involved with Disney.
That's very cool.
So anything that you can do to help that foundation, just check out that website. We'll have the link on our what is it?
Show notes.
There we go. Show notes.
So just scroll down.
The
link will be below.
And guys, don't forget, if you love listening to us, please give us a rating and review. A review can just be short and sweet. They are great. Whatever you want to say. Doesn't have to be much at all, or at least a rating, right?
Yeah, indeed.
And if you really love us, subscribe so you can get notifications of when we're having our show each and every week.
That's right, every Thursday. Yeah, but those ratings really do help us, and the reviews do too. And as we've mentioned, you could just put like the show, 5 stars.
Yeah.
That's it. You're done. Take
and
2
we
seconds.
really just do this because We love doing it.
Right.
And it is helping us meet people in the community, finding these organizations to maybe just plug it so that, oh, I want to help that organization, because it's all about giving back, right?
Indeed. And at the time of this episode, we are not making any money from this. We haven't up until now. I say it that way only because, I don't know, maybe you're listening to this 2 years from now and it's become more of a full-time gig for us. The intent has never really been to make money. Now, having said that, if this could sustain our life,
sure,
then we could be more involved and do more even. Yeah. And that would be really cool.
Yeah.
But just for clarity, we've had the opportunity to have some actual sponsors through our podcast hosts and other things, and we've sort of purposely declined it because we don't want to make money from this. That's not the intent. As we wrap up, just want to remind you can always call us 407-519-0515. If you want to be on the air, let us know. If you or someone you know would like to be a guest on the podcast, please let us know. Again, 407-519-0515. We are booked out through the middle or the end of January at this point. That's January 2020. But we are looking for guests. We're interested in helping people with their personal businesses, with their charities, with charities they support. Just, we like having experiences with people from all walks of life and helping to drive the success of everyone, really.
Yeah.
You can email us at feedback@fineanddanjee.com for the same thing or any other reason. And always remember, at the end of the day,
it's all fine and dandy. The airport. We're going to cut this out, but who's Gary Sinise?
It was Lieutenant Dan.
I thought that's who that was. I'm not very good with actor and actress's names. Sorry, Gary. If you're listening.